Well, welcome back to the Mud Shop. You are looking at my notes. I have a variety of things in the kiln. I thought I would share with you. It's a menagerie, actually. I fired it day before yesterday, so it is down to 90 degrees. Let's see, let me give you a peek inside and then I'll get you back on the stand. Here is the inside of the kiln. All kind of goodies, and you'll have to wait and see what they're going to make. I see if I can show you a picture on my phone. You can see the tree. I have a cookie cutter set, and each cookie cutter thing, each level will have a little bead in between it. And I did 2 different trees, and they're glazed with various greens. I used Mako's Ivy. I used ClayScapes Tim's Dark Celadon. I used a little bit of jades in different colors. I showed the beads and things last time. Well, I got the rest of the beads in here. So here is my set of witness cones, 4, 5, and 6. And I did exact same firing as the last one. I did actually a 30-minute hold on this because I wanted it to go pretty close to a 6. I set it for cone 5 and then hold it for 30 minutes at the top temperature. All right, let's see. I've been doing a few ornaments, and there'll be a bunch of these all throughout the kiln. These are glazed with stroke and coat. The cutter is from De La Design Gifts. It's just a stamp and a cutter set that comes with it. I give out a free ornament every year when I have my open house in November, so that's the ornament. These are the beads that go in between the different levels. These are Tim's Dark Celadon, and I believe this is Emerald Falls, but it doesn't have a lot of green on it, but that's okay. It's going to be the trunk of the tree. So, and they're fired on a bed of nails. You just pretty much pop them off. Now, normally I take my Kemper stone and I file down these little ridges where they're fired on the stilt. But since this is going to go in between levels of the tree, I'm not going to even worry about it this time. So I have several levels of these. Here's another set with the rest of the Tim's Dark Celadon, and then these were Emerald Falls. And I'm just going to pop this one time on the table and knock them all off. And they come off very easy. All right, the rest of those here, and I used Stroke and Coat Sun-Kissed. These will be the top of the tree. And I did a few extras, so if I want to use them as the base under the tree. And like I said, they come off this bed of nails real easy. I bought those from, the bed of nails came from the ceramic shop online, The Ceramic Shop. And I've had them 7-8 years, and I can't tell you how many times I fired it. All right, these will be necklace and jewelry sets like the pendant and earrings that I have here. This is Amico's Cherry Blossom. It's just a pale pink, kind of this color pink. Dropped one, I'll have to find it in a minute. I think it went under my shelf. All right, and these are just little ornament things. I've got trees that I'm working on for a Christmas table, and these will be the ornaments that go on that table. Matter of fact, one of the past firings and kiln unloadings, I showed the trees. Here they are. Here's some of them, and they'll hook just regular ornament hooks on the trees. Okay, let's see what else. We've got more of those, the jewelry. And I fire these on the little teeny tiny stilts. Each one had its own little stilt. And that's because my bead tree is full. I didn't have room to put a full tree on here, but I did a couple rods, and those are the ones I pulled off those rods. Didn't want to overload them. Right, here's one. These are all stroke and coat colors. The red is hot tamale. This blue is called the blues. Oh, there's my little angel earring and pendant set. I've got a bunch of those all through the kiln. Let's see. More stilts. And a little bell. You may be able to hear the thunder. I have a storm coming up, and we'll try to get this done before the storm gets here. Here's one of the levels of the tree. All right, let's get this first shelf down. These posts up. Here are the other pieces of that same tree. These are ivy. This is a Mako color, and I love it. You can see it's got like variations. You can see where it broke over the texture. Really pretty. But these will stack, and then the beads go in between. Here's a couple more of the little beads that go, the little pieces that go with it. When I get it all together, I will share pictures of it on my Facebook, Diana's Mud Shop. And a lot of people are not on Facebook. I'll try to go on Instagram and share a picture. So that'll help those that are not on Facebook. But I really don't do Instagram too much. It's another ornament. Let's see. This is ancient copper from Amico. It is more coppery looking in person than this camera is letting it show. This is the Nativity House. I did copper wash on the clay before I put the glaze on and wiped it back, and it did give it just a little darker tone. I think that's going to work just great. I have nativities that go in it. Here's one set here. It works with my hand sculpted nativities. All right, let's get back to these. All right, these were coil trees. I made a bisque form to use. I just bisqued it. I formed a cone, put it through the bisque fire, didn't even worry about smoothing seams. And this is what I used to form these. These I just extruded a coil and wrapped it around. This one I extruded the coil, and I did solid. It almost looks like a beehive. This one is, now let's see. I think this one is the ivy. And I'm not sure, I'll have to look at this jade, I think. I'm not sure what color I put on here. I'll have to look at my notes real quick and see what color did I do that spiral tree. Ivy with flux, and the other, oh, it's beetle wing and mood ring. So these were the new colors. I did beetle wing at the top because it's a lighter, and mood ring at the bottom. It's a little bit darker, and then I put light flux over the whole thing, all the way to about here. I hear my rain coming. It'll get loud in here. All right, these are the rest of the pieces for that first stack tree. Get all these out. And these were made from the ivy, glazed with ivy, Mako's ivy. All right, that's all of that stack trade. And the other one is Tim's Dark Celadon, which is a dipping glaze from ClayScapes. And you can see it breaks really good, but it's a variation in darks and lights, and it breaks and flows different on each piece. So it gives a little bit of a shadowed area. I thought that would look good for a tree when it gets stacked. Here are the pieces. There are these. And then the smaller pieces that'll be used to put it together, along with the beads, are here. Then it'll be time to get another shelf out. Tim's Dark Celadon will run if you get it very thick, but these did really well. I didn't glaze it very far down on the sides. Nothing stuck. There's Tim's Dark Celadon compared to the Mako's Ivy. This is ClayScapes, this is Mako. All right, big shelf out. Okay. All right, so I did these big posts out. I didn't have room in this kiln for the fancy bead tree, so I fired them this way. And you can see I've got the biggest pieces here and here on both sides, right next to the post. Now, they were some space a little bit when it was in the kiln. And then the smaller pieces in the middle. The weight pulls this rod close to the post so that the weight is pulled away from the center so I don't get any sagging. Now, these colors, these are the new Mako 2026 colors. This is pink speck and lavender speck, and I don't see I guess a little bit of difference. This is the pink speck, and the lavender speck doesn't give very much. You've got to get the specks out of it, and on the tiny pieces it doesn't show enough speck to give it color. The glaze is a cream base with the colored specks in it. Is what it looks like to me. Just a cream color and a little bit of the specks. All right, then the blue speck, I believe this is not the blue speck. This is Stroke and Coat the blues, and this is Stroke and Coat, I'll say it right, Blue Heaven. You can see better on the bigger pieces than on the little. Blue Heaven. And it's a light blue base with a blue speck in it. And again, I did the rod the same way. Balance that weight out. Don't put any heavy weight in the middle, or you will get sagging. A couple more of the little ornaments. These were all Stroke and Coat glazes. Let's see. And I had one little handmade. This will be just on the necklace, and I glazed both sides of it, so I fired it on a stilt. Little pendant. All right, now let's see, how did I do this bowl? These. I know I used mood ring on the edge, but I think I did the cobalt wash and white back and clear on the inside, and then I did the mood ring on the outside. Cobalt wash is from Mako, and so is the mood ring. You can see it on the outside. It's the bowl. And that's a wave texture bowl. Alright, the next one was done the same way. The roller in the middle with the chicken is Cold Mountain Pottery texture roller. It's a 3D texture roller, and I did the back too. You can see a few little chickens and some chicken feet. And this is the mood ring on the outside. And clear, crystal clear on the inside. This was done the same way. I did the cobalt wash on the lace texture and clear over it, and then I did the mood ring on the rest of it and on the back. And just clear here. All right, go down one more row. Let me find, okay, the new glazes from Mako 2026 new line came out. So there's a few things here in it. Plus, ClayScapes just released some of the clay share colors, and I have them in here. So let's get out a bunny plate. This is cherry blossom with stroke and coat red. I did brown underglaze and wiped it back so you could see the carvings on it, and then I used stroke and coats hot tamale, and then all overs covered with Amico cherry blossom. Did a bunny plate, and I just hand drew a rabbit and cut it out of craft foam, and that's what I use for my template. Cut out of craft foam. All right, and I just hand drew that. All right, a few more of these little ornaments. My little freebies for 26. I do something different every year. So I never do the same ornament 2 years in a row. So I got another handful of those. All right, this is stroke and coat. We've got the lavender, the yellows and reds, and there's two different greens. One is jade and the other is tic tac turquoise, I think. Okay, and then I just put clear over the outside of it, over the whole thing. Little plate. Okay, now I want to get to the new, I like this. This is, wow. This is cinnabar with cream. Cinnabar with cream. It looks a lot like ancient copper. It does have that iridescent copper look. You can see it did show the texture. Did not obscure the texture, so that's good. As far as running, did not run. So, how about that? Very good. All right, so this is cinnabar. And I did a touch of the cream on nearly all of it so that I could see how well it did. All right, this little one is Lake Blue and Spearmint. So this is the Lake Blue and the Spearmint. Both of these are the new colors for clay with the new brush on. They're not new colors. They've had them out in the dipping glazes, but this is their new brush on that just came out. And you can see it did not obscure the texture either. And this is 2 coats on the back and 3 coats on the front. Go down to the last row. I love ClayScapes Cream. It works well as a flux, but it also works well just as a glaze. So this first piece I'm going to show is just cream, all cream. Well, I did the little butterflies in the back with stroke and coat, but this is the cream, and it's over a little bit of a texture. Now this texture was not a deep texture. That was the reason that I went ahead and just covered the whole thing in cream. But it is a beautiful white glaze, very smooth. You can see there's no pinholing anywhere. Very smooth glaze. It went on smoothly. Okay, so this is the cream. All right, this one is Lake Blue. This one is Lake Blue with a little bit of the cream on the edges. You see how well it runs and blends. This is Lake Blue. 2 coats on the back, 3 coats on the front. All right, this one is Spearmint. Did I do everything Spearmint? Okay, I did Spearmint on the inside and on the edge and clear right here. I actually put Spearmint on it and wiped it back and then put clear here because I wanted to see how well you could see the texture, which was best. This is my little sample dish. So you can put it on and wipe it back and put clear, and it really, really shows the texture. But this is 3 coats in the middle, 1 coat white back, and then 2 coats of clear, and this is 3 coats of clear here. Of the Spearmint, and then just a little bit of the cream on the outside of it. And this is the Spearmint with 2 coats on the back. And all this is on white clay. This is a white stoneware clay, the 240 white from Standard brand. All right, then, okay. This one is Starry Night. I wanted to see how close this was to Amico's, what's that little shiny one that they do? Anyway, I wanted to see how much it compared. This does obscure a good bit of the texture. You can see it some, but not good. This is Starry Night, 3 coats on the inside, cream around the edges, 2 coats on the outside, and now I can see that none of it ran. All of it coated very well, covered well. Everything is smooth finish. Okay, Starry Night. One more. Okay, this one is Orbe. This is the Orbe on a deep texture. Now I did water down some, get it down in the texture first and let that dry, and then glazed over it. This is 3 coats on the inside, 2 coats on the outside, and then I did cream around the edge, so we see what it looked like around the edge. And it did not obscure this texture, but this was a very deep texture. But it is all smooth, no pinholing, very good. All right, let's let's see. And a couple more of the little ornaments. When I get to my scrap last piece of clay, I always make something with it. This time I made a candy cane, glazed it with stroke and coat colors, the white and which is the cottontail, and the candy apple red, and I fired on a little stilt bar. And there's one last piece in here. This is also from a roller from Cold Mountain Pottery. This is from a texture from Cold Mountain Pottery. And I used Amico's Jade Celadon. And I put it over everything and then wiped it back and made sure it stayed in the recessed areas. And then I come back then and added it again here on the solid piece that I wanted it, where I wanted it solid. And a little more in the center of these supposedly pine cones. So, and then just on the edges, I covered it with clear. And my little stamp on the corner. And this roller is from Cold Mountain Pottery. So go order one. I don't know if they do other states, but they do mine. She's actually from Mississippi, so that helped. And that is everything in here, except the last of my posts. And when I get the trees put together, I will let you know. I'm debating on two different ways to do it. One, I either gonna just glue it together, or I thought about gluing it but putting a low fire glaze on it, a clear in between to fuse it together. But I don't know about putting a rod down the middle of it and refiring it at cone 05 or 04. But I have a low fire clear. I could put a little clear in between. I could actually glaze it, glue it together, and then fire it and fuse it together. But I tried to put it together and it wouldn't stay standing up in the kiln. I was afraid it would fall over during the firing and mess up a whole lot of pots and mess up my shelves and stuff, so I didn't try it. But I'll let you know how it goes. I might just glue it together with the E6000 epoxy, but I'll let you know. Check out my Facebook page. You'll get to see everything on there. I will share pictures when I get them done. And thanks for joining me in the mud shop. Bye.